Hi, welcome back to Geekified. You've not seen us for a little while. We have been busy over the Christmas period, but we are now back in business for 2023, and we're here with an interesting Netflix movie. That's been in the making for apparently 40 years, I believe, and that is White Noise. Well, I didn't know this is a movie. There was a novel. It was classed as being an unfilmable, untouchable book that they just couldn't ever work with as a movie. And whether that is going to prove true from our reviews is a question that we're about to find out. Yeah, a couple of clues. How are you, Nathan? How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. Really good.
Yeah, so White Noise. So I managed to catch it last night. Very fresh in my memory. It's been out for about a week, I think, now, hasn't it?
Just over, I think.
Yeah, but this is definitely one that I'm quite glad that it was Nathan's idea to discuss to kind of restart Geeky Five because this is an interesting one. This sits for me in a very, very different grouping of movie directors and writers and all that, and it's a very, very weird movie for me.
Yeah.
Um, do you want to go first on what you felt?
Yeah, right. I will start this with a caveat. I'm normally a massive Noah Baumbach fan. Squid and the Whale is one of my favorite movies.
Yeah,
This, however, this, however, was not good. um, I didn't really understand it. I was quite enjoying the first sort of act of it, and then it just gets a bit weird, and I didn't really understand what the point in any of it was, and why they were doing the things they were doing, and yeah, I was very disappointed actually. I mean, I really like Adam Driver. I like Don Cheadle. I like Greta Gerwig, but
yeah.
this was just they're trying a bit too hard to be, I don't know, Paul Anderson or something. I don't know. But yeah, just Wes Anderson, sorry, not Wes Paul Anderson. And I just
Yeah.
thought, I don't know. I was just very odd. It's like there was no sense of peril at any point when, there's this massive poisonous cloud above them. And they're just sort of messing about and not really doing anything. And I didn't really get the dynamics in the movie at all. What was it about? Was it about the cloud? Was it about the other stuff? Was it about her losing her memory? I just like, I think they're just trying a bit too hard to be a bit different. I mean, maybe that's what the book's like. I haven't read it, but yeah, just not for me, which is unusual because would normally fall right in my wheelhouse.
This is why I'm interested to discuss this movie because it is generally an interesting movie. Because what I kind of want to bring up about it is that what I said at the start. This falls in the league of people like Charlie Kaufman kind of type movies. It's very very different. It's very very pushes the boundaries and it's bizarre. Just very much like Charlie Kaufman, all of Charlie Kaufman's films and all of his stuff that he's done. But this somehow just doesn't seem to hit the ground at all.
No.
Yeah, it's very, very, very bizarre. I just feel it's clunky. It felt
Yeah.
like you said, there's no sense of peril, which is something that you definitely need in a movie like this. It's absolutely necessary. And to be honest, I agree with you. The first act, I was like, do you know what? I watched the first act and I felt right. Am I just watching the first act because it's the first act? And then that's when you get bored in most movies because after the first act, I was bored as shit to be honest. Like I was like, I don't know what I'm watching. I really wasn't enjoying it. It says you've got
Yeah,
things like Charlie Kaufman movies. Sorry, you've got things like Charlie Kaufman movies where you get pulled in by really
yeah.
good, great storytelling, really great things that's happening, really great kind of lead-ons, things that you haven't answered. There was none of that in this at all.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I think the last half hour of this, I started watching YouTube videos. It was just lost my interest. And I think if I hadn't said to you that we would do a review of it, I probably wouldn't have finished it. It's a bit odd for me. I think I was sort of thinking about this when I was watching it. Like Adam Driver, I'm normally quite a big fan of, but I
Mm-hmm.
think in this he was trying a bit too hard to be Nicolas Cage. Maybe in his career, I think he's sort of this generation's Nicolas Cage. He does these sort of indie movies, but he also does sort of action movies and stuff like that as well. And I just thought
Mm-hmm.
he was probably the best person in it, to be honest, in parts. But in other parts, I'm just like, what? When the bit at the end when they all shoot each other, I'm just like, the fuck's that about? And when they go to the hospital, why is it all German?
Yeah, this is what I don't get. Like, I would love to say to you, Nathan, that I'd love to go and read the book after this, but not a fucking chance.
Uh,
If this movie is anything based on the book, then I'm absolutely zero interest in even picking it up.
I mean, I don't mind like a surreal movie with like lots of hidden meanings and stuff like that, and trying to figure out what's going on. But this, it didn't seem to have. It just felt like a really shit movie.
Yeah,
I don't know if
like I
that's
said,
what the sort of style they were going for, but and all the kids, I didn't really understand the point of having all the kids in it, and other than the
mhm.
one girl who was a bit like who was a bit like Gwyneth Paltrow's character Margot in the Royal Tenenbaums. The
Yeah,
eldest one, Denise, wasn't it? Denise, I think was the girl's name. Other than her, the rest of them were a bit pointless. Apart from then, there's the one kid who knew everything, and he was
yeah,
just trying a bit
yeah,
too hard to be Jesse Eisenberg and the way he talked and stuff like that. And I was just like, I, I just don't, I didn't get, I just didn't, like I said, I just didn't get it.
yeah.
It's a way the thing to describe it.
So do you feel that this is like I'm very much all for movies trying to step out of the superhero genre and step out of your generic comedies and step out of those normal bookends that we have of movies. And this is something that is obviously incredibly different. I mean, you've got Greta Gerwig, who's obviously a massive part. I know, how do you say, is it Baumbach?
Going back, yeah,
Oh,
not
right,
going
yeah.
back.
So they're married. They're a couple, and obviously Greta Gerwig's got the Barbie movie coming up, which is obviously going to be really surreal, very different. I'm very
Mm.
interested in seeing how she turns a toy, a famous toy, into an actual movie. And I'm all for these kinds of movies, but then again, when does it stop? When does it become more of a fantastical, ridiculous idea from a director rather than an actual movie itself that can be successful?
Yeah, I mean, it felt like a bit like I mean, I'm sure it's probably a bit of a passion play for him, and he wanted to do
Mm.
it. But I just think that I think maybe it was a bit like he was making a movie for himself. Um,
Yeah,
I mean, his movies are always a bit odd and a bit, out there, but they're only got quite like good characters in them, and they've got like some really interesting plot devices and stuff. And this didn't seem to
yeah,
have it. There was a bit. I think it was in the first act when he's asleep and she's asleep and he wakes up and he thinks that she goes under the covers and becomes the monster. And I thought, well, there's going to be maybe some sort of not horror exactly, but some sort of surrealist. I mean, bits of it, I got a feel of that sort of running with knives, the Brian Cox movie. I got a feel of that and a few
mhm,
bits of it, but just it didn't seem to stick to one of these things. It just sort of kept on jumping about, and it's just sort of like he
yeah.
was just doing a sort of like a nod to all these sort of art house directors that are out there, and just didn't really
Yeah,
stick to
no,
one
exactly.
thing. No.
That's what this is. But you've actually kind of hit the nail on the head for me. I feel as if this has literally been a director who has tried to be so many different directors at the same time that he's made a mess, rather
Yeah.
than just doing what he feels natural and telling the story. And again, I can't. It's very difficult without knowing this book. Like,
Mm.
if, is the book very similar to this? I'd love to anybody in the comments who's watching this, like, give us a wee
Mm.
nod and tell us: is this the same as the book? Is it different? Is it pretty much the exact same tone, the same idea? Because if so, then maybe he got
Well,
it
it's not a
right.
great advert. Not a great advert for it, is it?
No, it's not selling a book. I mean, it's a 40-year-old book, which is apparently very successful and it's done very well in its time. But this is not something that I will
I
ever
mean,
be talking about again.
even the title didn't really make much sense to me.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
white noise is this idea of like stuff in the background and stuff going on in the background and
Mm.
that sort of hiss and fuss, and I didn't really understand what that had to do with anything, to be honest with you. And
Yeah.
then even like there's just even like really bizarre scenes where sort of even like the end. I don't know if you watched the credits at the end, and it was LCD
I don't
Sound
think I
System
did.
did that song. They did this weird like dance routine in the supermarket. And then there's this obsession with the supermarket through the whole movie as well, which didn't really make any sense to me as well.
Yeah. I'm going
Hmm.
to say, like, I'm really sorry, but this type of genre is falling into people like, and I'll bring him up again, Charlie Kaufman. And
Hmm.
he's the one that seems to do absolutely great, absolutely perfect. He does surreal, bizarre, a little bit odd, and nails it on the head.
Yeah,
Because that's all I felt that it was trying to be through this entire movie, trying to be
yeah.
something like him.
What was that
Which is obviously,
film? What was that film we watched last year?
I'm
I'm
thinking
thinking
of
of
ending
endings.
things. Yeah.
And yeah, and I see what you mean. They're trying to follow that style and didn't really. But he was even, but then he was doing this sort of Wes Anderson dialogue style, when they're all
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
which you know, they're trying to merge these two things. Wes Anderson's ones work because he sets up his films like puppet shows, you know, and that's why that
Mhm.
works. And you know, Charlie
But that's
Kaufman sets up
because,
these surreal environments, and you know, brings in like metaphysical stuff and all that sort of stuff, and that really works. And it's like I feel like they're trying to bring all of that together in one place, and it didn't really fit. I watched quite a few of Greta Gerwig's movies as well, and I mean they're very
yeah,
similar to Baumbach's movies, to be honest, but probably lean a bit more towards comedy. And I don't know, maybe she's had an input on this because some of the sort of bright colors and stuff sort of reminded me of her a little bit. And some
yeah.
of the
I noticed
stuff.
that. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I
know.
know it
I
was
mean,
set in
like,
the early, I know it was set in the early '80s, which probably maybe that's why it was like that. But I don't know, I just
I
didn't.
think I know for a fact that when I did check up on a couple of things, I know for a fact the book is set in the 80s. That's a fact. But then again, like the book was written obviously in that time because I'm sure it's like a 30 odd year
Yeah,
old book. So,
yeah.
well, why not? If you're going to make a movie, why do you have to do it in the 80s? Why not just update it and make it a bit more modern and kind of make it a
Well, I
bit
mean,
more
even if you
relevant
want
for
to
something?
do it in the '80s, but
Mhm.
I don't know, it's just very bizarre. Like I said, I was really looking forward to it. 'Cause I'm a big fan of his, and I like Adam Driver, and I like Greta Gerwig, and you know, I thought, no, this will be an entertaining watch for a couple of hours. And I've actually seen some pretty good reviews of it, to be honest.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. So this is the other thing that I wanted to bring up, and I'll obviously bring it up on the screen for the viewers. Is a couple of the reviews I've seen. Absolutely bizarre.
mhm.
Um, so one from a certain person on Google who you can probably find, given what I'm about to tell you. Tonight I had my first viewing of White Noise, the movie. There will be more. This film was a mashed up of Salvador Dali, Vinel, Finelli, and Kurt Vonnegut with a sprinkle of magical realism found in Gabriel Garcia Marquez. It left me crying, squirming, smiling, and finally dancing to see my own fears, passion, and dreams. Turned inside out like a favourite pair of socks I wear at night to keep my old feet warm when I retire to sleep.
Is it one of these ones where they think it's highbrow, so therefore they got to say it's good?
Yeah, so that's one of the reviews I found. Honestly, just go to Google reviews and have a wee look at the
I read
reviews
that
for
one
this
before.
movie because
I've read that
this
one
is
before.
that this type of people are the people who have watched it and says it's brilliant. And their replies to these movies is an absolute thunderous amount of gobshite is the best way I can put it. It's absolute
Yeah,
fucking nonsense. Absolute
yeah.
nonsense. And that's one, and I'm not joking. I won't even read any more out because it's just a page and page and page of this weird
Mm.
over intellectual replies to this movie. And I just don't. I mean, you're a very intellectual. I'm not one smoke up your arse, but you're a very intellectual guy. You know movies inside out, and you're sitting here saying it was not a very good movie.
Yeah, and like I said, I think you can. I think it's probably people think, you know, this is probably one I should like. You know, this is probably something because of
Mhm.
who is made it and stuff like that, and so therefore I'll say that it's really good. I think people have got to understand it. There's a place for, you know, intellectual movies and stuff like that, but you know, I always think the point of a movie is for enjoyment, you know, or for, you know,
Correct.
appreciation or whatever. And I don't. They didn't do anything new in this. Copied a lot of people with different things, and just had it was just for me it was the dialogue was so stilted. You know, just like it didn't advance the story at any point. The dialogue in this movie, which is a really unusual thing for such a wordy movie.
Yeah, yeah.
And
It's
like
very,
even
very
like
true.
it's like Don Cheadle's character. I mean, the best scene in the movie is when the two of them are in that amphitheater and they're sort of dueling. The dueling speeches, one about Hitler, one about Elvis, and sort of making out that sort of comparison with hysteria and stuff like that. And I thought that was really
Yeah.
interesting. That was probably the best part of it. But then after that, Don Cheadle's character just doesn't mean anything. It's like,
Yeah.
why is he in the movie? You know, why is he even there? And there's a
I
few
found that a
characters.
bit quite
What's his name? Andre Benjamin was like in it very briefly, wasn't he? As one of
yeah.
the professors as well. And it's just like he was there,
Well,
and then what's the point in
as I was
having
about to
him?
say, I felt that about quite a lot of the characters. They were absolutely pointless. I mean, you do get superfluous characters in all movies. Like there's
Yeah.
they're there just to obviously make it feel a bit more open and more real worldy.
I
But
think if
this
you
was literally characters with no point at all.
I think if you're going to do that, then you cast somebody you don't know. As soon as you're watching a movie and you see somebody you know, it automatically draws your attention. And you think, well, that must be important, you know. And I don't, is that what was that a device he had to sort of confuse you again? Maybe I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this is. possibly summed it up in the best. I'm left confused. Is probably just not disappointed because I think there's a lot of art involved in the movie. I think I'm confused is probably the best way. And if that's what his aim was, then I'm pretty much roundabout. And one last time before we go is we bring up Adam Driver, Adam Driver's trailer for another movie, and it made me really, really agree with you there when you said he's the new generation's Nicolas Cage. Have you seen the trailer for 65?
Yes, I have.
Yeah, he is the new Nicolas Cage.
I was watching it last night. It was the first thing I thought because I watched the Wedding Story, the one he did with Scarlett Johansson last year. The Wedding Story.
Yeah, Marriage Story.
Marriage Story, yeah. And he's good in that. And I've obviously you had the Star Wars stuff, and just when he was starting to break it in Black Klansman, he's very good in, and he did that Midnight Express, you know, the one about the space boy with thingy. My head's gone blank, but he's really good in that as well, and that sort of lower like that independent acting role. And he can also, because he's quite a big, well-built guy, he can do the the action roles and stuff, which is why I just sort of thought, he's Nicolas Cage, and he's trying too hard to be him. I mean, not trying too hard to be him, but I think you probably don't want to get pigeonholed into that.
Oh God, please not, because I think he is a great actor. I just don't want him to become. Not as much as we all love Nicolas Cage, he's a bit of a kind of a joke actor in a sense for a lot of the stuff he's done. But then again, he's an icon for some of the roles that he managed to grab. But I don't hope Adam Driver doesn't fall out of those leagues because he is a great actor. But 65, if you've not watched the trailer, go have a watch of that. It looks borderline ridiculous, but in the way that it possibly might be quite a good movie. Yeah, but I'm not going to slag it yet until we see it, because it could be terrible, but it could be brilliant. Definitely. Right, well, there you go. So before we end, so 2023, we're no longer just saying films were good or bad or pish. We're definitely doing a 10-star rating on every movie that we're doing and every review we're doing. So there has to be a 10-star point on this one. Where are you sitting, Nathan?
4.5. 4.5.
4.5. Yeah, do you know what? You're a wee bit more generous than I was giving it, because I'm afraid I was bored at tits at one point, and that takes it all the way down to a 4 for me. I was entertained. But
yeah, in patches, and then there's some really powerful things, but I didn't see the point in it.
Yeah, so there you go. You're getting a 4 and a 4.5. And that's White Noise with Adam Driver from Noah Baumbach. I think it's produced by Greta Gerwig. I think they'd worked together on this one. Not great. Not a great start to the year for movies. Hopefully, hopefully our reviews pick up, and we'll find some better stuff to review coming soon. And obviously, you know how much this channel we love Westworld. So I just want to say a big, massive rest in peace, Westworld. We almost did it every episode.
It'll probably get resurrected somewhere for a 5th season or a movie. You could do a movie to finish it, couldn't you? I think.
Oh, you probably could. Yeah, I think they could. I think they could very, very easily do a movie. Very, very easily do a movie.
A movie to finish it off.
Yeah, hopefully we'll see. We'll see what happens. There you go. That's our first review of 2023. Me and Nathan back in the game. Hopefully we'll get some of the other boys, and we're going to do different reviews, a couple of different things coming up over the next couple of weeks as well. But thank you for joining us. Thank you, Nathan.
No problem.
We can do this all day.